Actually, one of the craziest parts about this whole story is the fact that Destiny trusted a 19-year-old Discord lady, okay, named Rose is Coming, with sex tapes of other people in his life. Nigga, if that's not compromised judgment, I don't know what the fuck is, okay? I wouldn't trust a Discord member with my first name, and that's just public information. He was giving other people sex tapes.
Well, Alba, I'm glad you finally realized what we all knew all along about Destiny.
What are you doing, stick bro?
This is what I will say. I'm glad that I've inspired so many people to go the litigation route. However, unfortunately, that severely restricts what would be wise for me or what I'm capable of saying publicly about anything. I do look forward to the continuation of and ideally the resolution of that process, hopefully sooner rather than later. But I think my two legal teams now are probably going to hate me for saying anything at all. So I can't really say much insofar as that goes, unfortunately. Here are a couple of things that I'll say that that have been kind of like bouncing around in my brain. I'll say the most important thing, okay? Regardless of what you've heard online, or regardless of your desire to simp for me, or shit on me, or simp for anybody else or whatever, obviously, taking any things or sharing any things non-consensually is never good. Don't ever do that. Don't defend that. Don't be that guy. I only say that because I saw some people were typing shit over the past week who were like, oh, like, this doesn't matter. Who cares even if this did happen or whatever. That's not cool, okay? So, number one, don't be that guy, okay?
See, Destiny has always been a weird character, right? Because he's very smart. He knows how to articulate certain position that he has in an argument. But the problem that I actually tend to have with Destiny is that, like, he's not trying to actually get to the bottom of something or try to get the truth. He just wants to argue and he try to be right. And by doing so, he will just use any sort of deceptive tactic. He doesn't care. He only want to win an argument.
Oh, hold up. I was actually curious. You don't think that to some degree your hedonism doesn't bite you in the ass?
No, I think I have a really good engagement with most of my hobbies. I think I do it pretty well. I think that my mental functioning is very high. I think my career is incredibly successful. There are parts of my life that I can improve, but I think that people look at some of the standard markers for trouble and they, for some reason, project a ton of stuff onto me. But I think I'm living like one of the healthiest, fullest lives that I possibly could be.
Constantly having poor relationships with women over a long period of time, or in other situations, STDs, different things like that. Eventually, that hedonism comes back to bite them in the life, and they also recognize they could have invested that time a lot better.
So wait, what do you ask us about this? Like, what was your idea of this?
Yeah, it's not like I have like 100 kids and 5 million STDs and like.
No, you just constantly. Okay, I'm not gonna talk about it.
Well, you might as well. But no, you drop the accusation. Go for it. You just constantly. Say it. No, say it. No, shut up, Melina. Shut up. Let him talk. What do you mean? Constantly. Anything you do in life that's going to increase like your ability to like have fun or do like crazy stuff or whatever is always going to carry with it like the risk of death, right?
Absolutely.
Like you have no chance of dying by falling out of a plane unless you go skydiving. But that's not an argument. It's never skydiving.
But it is an argument against maybe skydiving 1,000 times if you don't want to die that way.
Well, if you want to skydive 1,000 times, then fucking skydive 1,000 times. Like what's wrong? Damn, what happened to all the self-empowerment shit that you guys were talking about earlier?
I mean, it just depends on whether or not you want that outcome. If you're saying like, oh, I don't want this kind of destructive thing, or I don't want to end up dying by skydiving, then maybe don't skydive every other day.
Yeah, but I'm not complaining about that. You guys are. If your lifestyle choices are like, damn, I would never want to deal with like a crazy girl or anything like that, that's totally valid. I think it's totally fine. I accept that that's probably true for most people. But like, I'm okay with the trade-off on that for like all the benefits that I get. I like a lot of people. I like traveling a lot. I like doing drugs. I like my stream shit. That's like super fun for me. To be like, well, doesn't bad stuff happen sometimes? So you shouldn't do it. That doesn't compute to me. Like, I feel like I'm living a super amazing life, and I feel like there's a lot of shit that happens all the time. I understand it might be a lot for some people, but it seems weird to be like, oh, well, I think that you're like secretly like hurting or damaged inside because of some negative outcomes. Like,
and that because of that behavior and stuff like that, right? So then what tends to happen is the thing that he argue about, he doesn't believe it. He doesn't believe it. He will sometimes try to, sound good or try to sound smart and articulate. But at the end of the day, he's not really a good person. He's not a person with moral or any sort of integrity and stuff like that, right? And I made a video not that long ago when it comes to the thing that he said about like the conservative that, they should, get shots and, all this other stuff, right? And then and Abba, surprisingly, was kind of defending that behavior. And I made a video and actually expressing how I believe that Abba was wrong in the matter. However, now, after he's finally able to see what everyone else was able to actually see in Destiny all along, and the fact that Destiny is he's a piece of shit.
Bad idea. This is a bad lifestyle. He said, I don't care. I want to have fun. It's fun for me. That's why I like these mentally ill women. That's why I like doing this stuff. That's why I can't keep my dick in my pants. It's because it's fun. Well, I'm like, all right, then. When it fucking inevitably blows up in your face, I'm not going to have no sympathy for you. You can be my friend, my worst enemy. I don't give a fuck. If you engage in behavior repeatedly after you're warned, fuck around and find out. And that's what Steven's doing. But I don't want to make it just sound like a happenstance of hedonism. That no, some of this stuff is also just morally bad in regards to what he did with recording these women and all this other shit. And if he gets sued for it, he loses money, then it is what it is too. You do the crime, you do the time, right? So no, all these people will be like, oh, Abba, stick by him, he's your friend. I already told y'all. If my friend goes out and murders a bunch of people, I don't give a fuck, send his ass to jail. And if my friend does some fuck shit like what Steven just did and he's gonna lose a bunch of money, I'm not gonna cry. All right, I would tell my friends and I would warn them beforehand, hey, don't do that, don't do that. You go and do it, then, hey man, that's your problem, bro. You didn't listen to me. You're not gonna get my sympathy at this point. Nope. My sympathy is for when a tragedy happens, not when the inevitable does. Yeah, what you're hearing from me right now is disappointment and a bit of anger, but I'm angry at myself. What let me say?
Look, man, don't beat yourself over it. It happens to all of us that, when we actually have certain people around us, we give them the benefit of the doubt because we like to see the best in people, especially the ones that we care about. And there's something about Destiny that you like. I mean, hell, Destiny seems like he's very smart. He knows how to articulate certain things. And I can understand why you would see something in him that you liked, and then you guys became friends, and then these things you happen to just you sometimes have to defend your friends based on things that you really don't matter to you, such as politics. But when it comes to things that's like certain behavior that is irrepressible and things that you cannot overlook, then you have to take a stand. And I appreciate that you took a stand and you just remove yourself from the situation, because Destiny's a piece of shit, man. He's a piece of shit. He's a smart piece of shit. He's a narcissist, but a piece of shit nonetheless. And with someone like you with integrity and a moral ground, then yeah, it's for the best that you actually remove yourself from his circle, or remove him from your circle per se.
Realize like this is a story about socially retarded people, mentally ill people, all engaging in sexual behaviors and and they're not ready for it. But I also have to have some humility and admit that I've tethered myself to that world. I dipped my toes into it, and having spent some time there, was it a bit entertaining? Sure, but it was entertaining like it was when you go to the zoo and you see a bunch of freak animals do a bunch of circus monkey tricks, and that's it. And now that it's gotten to the point where it's kind of spilling over into real life and you're realizing that these people behind closed doors are doing weird shit, it's time to take a step back and be like, okay, we've had our fun at the zoo. It's closing up. Time to head home. I'm not interested in being part of the act. I'm not interested in being in the enclosure. I'm not interested in befriending any of the other freak animals that they want to bring in. It's just a weird assortment of people. And it's so different than my real life. Like, why am I wasting time with this? This is not beneficial for my business. This is not beneficial for my personal life. I'm not learning anything about social interaction. So I have nothing to gain by being around this. And despite Destiny being my friend, there's a lot of things that I just don't agree with, that I don't want to be associated with. To keep a long story short, for those of you asking, like, all right, well, Abba, what are you going to do going forward? This is a conversation I had with Steven already. I just told him I wouldn't show up on any of his stuff in the future. And I don't think that's that big of a deal, because at the end of the day, he's going to be doing mostly political stuff from now on. So it's probably for the best.
You see, whether you're a famous red pill YouTuber like Fresh and Fit and all the other goofball, or you are a proclaimed male feminist like Destiny, what thing these guys tend to have in common is because they're not genuine. They don't have any integrity, which is, so even though they might have two different arguments, or they see the world too differently, but at the end of the day, they don't practice what they preach. They have a facade. They want people to actually believe a certain aspect about themselves, but they're just nerds and weak individual who just happen to stumble upon a gold mine that happens to be making money online, and they're very technical about it, and they were able to make a fortune out of it, and that's what gets them laid. That's what gets them the women. So Destiny and Fresh and Fit, they're the same people. They're the same people that just happen to have money, and now they just use that power, that fame that they have, to actually just run through chicks that wouldn't sleep with them if they didn't have that celebrity status. But anyway, let me know what you guys think down below. You know who it is. I'm your host, The Haitian. So share, like, comment, and subscribe. So I'm out of here. Peace.
Fuck Trump. Fuck the people that support him. I just want you to know, okay? Just in case you're confused or it seems like I'm, whatever. If one of you were in the crowd and you're a conservative fan of mine and you end up, if one of you were in the crowd and you're a conservative fan of mine and you end up, getting blown away or whatever the fuck, I'm making fun of you the next day on Twitter. I am. 100%. Number one, who's defending anything like that, okay? Don't do that. Number two, there are a lot of communities that are preying on my downfall. All this is now super public, but because it's also coupled with litigation, or threats of litigation. It kind of restricts the public movements that I can make. In some ways, it's surprising just how crazy so many other people are. In other ways, I guess it's not surprising at all. But there's a lot of like insane things that are being said right now. I don't know. I just shouldn't say anything with specificity to anything. There's nothing in there, and there's nobody in there.